All right, let's talk about those weird little moments, those strange, sometimes really embarrassing and often hilarious mental glitches that happen to all of us. You know, those times where it feels like your own brain just betrays you. But what if they aren't betrayals at all? What if they're actually messages trying to tell you something from deep inside your own mind?
I mean, we've all been there, right? You go to introduce a coworker you've known for years and suddenly, poof, their name is just gone. Or the classic cringe moment. You call your new partner by your ex's name. Yikes. Well, these aren't just awkward little blips. They're fascinating psychological events that a certain famous doctor believed held the keys to our hidden thoughts.
Just take a look at this real-world example. It's a classic. The president of the Austrian House of Deputies. He meant to say he was opening the session, but what came out? Closed. Why? Well, probably because his true desire to just get the whole thing over with slipped right out. And that, right there, is a perfect example of what we now call a Freudian slip.
Now, it's really easy to just laugh these things off as, simple brain farts or just random errors. But Sigmund Freud, he saw them completely differently. He believed these weren't just meaningless noise. Nope. To him, they were signals coming from the deepest parts of ourselves, a puzzle he was absolutely determined to solve.
So that brings us to the big question, doesn't it? Are these slip-ups just random blips in our brain's wiring, a little crossed signal for a second? Or, as Freud argued, are they actually meaningful clues, little windows into our unconscious wishes, our fears, and our hidden conflicts? Okay, so to really get this, let's dive in and play detective on a really fascinating case that Freud himself analyzed. It all kicks off with one young man, a famous Latin quote, and one single forgotten word. So picture this. You have this bright, ambitious young guy, and he's making a really passionate point. He wants to cap it all off with a powerful quote from the poet Virgil, but right when he gets to the crucial part, his memory just fails him. The word he forgets is aliquis, which is just a simple Latin word that means someone. So why that word? So Freud starts digging using this technique he developed called free association. He just asks the young man to say whatever pops into his head. So the guy starts with aliquis, and he kind of breaks it down into and liquis. That makes him think of relics, which leads him to think of liquidation, and then fluid. And this train of thought takes him to the blood miracle of St. Janarius in Naples, where blood supposedly liquefies. And then, boom, the bombshell. He admits he was just in Naples and is incredibly anxious because he's waiting for news. He's worried a woman he was with might be pregnant. The whole liquefying blood thing was a direct, symbolic link to his anxiety about her period. And this brings us right to a core Freudian idea, repression. See, the young man's conscious mind was actively trying to ignore this huge, deep-seated anxiety about a potential pregnancy. But that anxiety didn't just go away, right? It was still lurking there in his unconscious, and it latched onto the word aliquis and basically blocked it from his memory. So the crucial point here is that this wasn't just a random memory lapse. Not at all. It was a targeted strike from his unconscious mind. The case was solved, and it reveals something pretty profound about how our minds really work under the surface. According to Freud, these slips, he called them parapraxes. They're never really accidents, they're compromises. The repressed thought can't just come out and say hello, so it hijacks a word or a name or an action to make itself known. It's basically the unconscious whispering, or sometimes, even shouting, through the little cracks in our conscious control. And here's the really cool part. This principle isn't just about forgetting words in Latin quotes. This exact same dynamic, the unconscious blurting out a hidden truth, shows up in all sorts of everyday mistakes. Let's take a look at a few more. Freud applied this theory to this huge range of stuff he called symptomatic acts. Forgetting the name of someone you secretly can't stand, misreading a sign in a way that reveals something you actually wish for, or accidentally breaking something you never really liked in the first place. It all follows the same hidden logic. Here's a quick and kind of funny one. A woman who was, let's say, a little domineering, was talking about her husband's diet. She meant to say, he can eat and drink what he wants, but oops, her real desire for control just slipped right out. A perfect one-word confession. Or how about this one? A guy is being pushed by his wife to go to a party he is absolutely dreading. As he's getting his suit from an old trunk, he absent-mindedly drops the key right inside, and the lock springs shut. Whoops, oh well. Guess we can't go now. His unconscious basically orchestrated the perfect escape that his conscious mind could claim was a total accident. Here's another classic. A woman calls a married friend, but uses her maiden name. Now, on the surface, that seems like a simple mistake, right?
But it turned out she never liked her friend's husband and deep down, unconsciously, wished the marriage had never even happened. That little slip was her unconscious mind trying to literally rewind time, back to before the mistake of the marriage.
So when you look at it this way, it really reframes everything. On one side, you've got the common view. These are just random, meaningless brain glitches that you should just forget about. But the Freudian view is the total opposite. He's saying they are determined, they're meaningful, and they are absolutely worth analyzing. It's a simple shift, but it turns our frustrating daily errors into fascinating data about ourselves. And all of this leads to a pretty powerful idea. What if we stopped just dismissing our own little mistakes and started, well, listening to them instead? What could we actually learn about ourselves if we did? So the main takeaway here is this. Your slips, your glitches, they aren't just noise. They're signals. They're like a direct line to your inner self, a window into your unconscious. That forgotten name, those misplaced keys, they might just be revealing a conflict, a desire, or a fear that you haven't even admitted to yourself yet. So the next time your brain has one of those little glitches, don't just get frustrated. Get curious. Just pause for a second and ask yourself, wait a minute, why that word? Why that name? Why that specific action? Right now. You might be really surprised by what you discover. What is your unconscious trying to tell you?